What is going on, guys and girls? It's your boy Life from Work. We're just gonna go ahead and get into the video. We're not gonna waste no time. This one is bearish to bullish trends specifically. So this first entry right here, we're just gonna talk about um when to get in. Right, this is like a dip and rip. Dip and rip, we have a dip. What we didn't really have a dip, and then you have a push break over high of day right here. That's what you usually have, and then you have a pullback, and you have a pullback that's roughly about 10 to 20 cents of downside. And as you can see, this was at 48 and then pulled back almost 10 cents, bounced off the 40 support, consolidated, and it made a new high right here, and the candle closed right here on this candle, and this next candle pushed up over VWAP. And right here is this indication that, okay, this stock is back bullish, it's over the VWAP, and after it broke this high, it just had to break higher day. So this is kind of like the entry point where I could see in a dip and rip type of pattern, because you have the dip, even though this didn't dip. But if the stock meets the criteria, we'll talk about that in another video. But you have the dip, and then you have the morning spike over the higher day. Then you have the pullback, the 10 to 20 cents of pullback. Then you have the consolidation. Then you jump up, and that's where it starts to rip. And right here, you could have executed position right here at the 45 area after it got back over that VWAP, because it held support right on the VWAP. And then you got the break over higher day at 48. And it came all the way up to the 60s. Now you could have sold right here, or you could have waited for the pullback, because with the dip and rip, you never know how high it's gonna go. Some of these stocks explode. Like this one definitely exploded from 40 cents all the way to 90 cents. I wouldn't have expected this to go this high, but that's an entry right there. And you could either just get out up here or wait for some consolidation and pullbacks like it did right here. And right here is a trend right here, right? So what we're looking at, we're gonna go ahead and get a polyline right here, right? This is a trend right here. This is one trend right here. So this is bullish because the stock just broke higher day. It broke out a lot of green candles back to back. It has to pull back and consolidate to keep moving. That's a healthy chart. So you got the trend line right here, right? This is the trend line. So this is the trend line. It came under VWAP just a little bit because it had to pull back, right? This is your trend line. And right here you have a flag pattern right here. And right here it came back over VWAP. The candle closed strong. And the support right here was under VWAP. So right here is another buy signal to buy right here. And as you can see, you got a big push, you got another pullback, and you got a grind back up, and it came all the way to 90 cents. So this is the first indication right here that there's strength still there, because you have that flag pattern right there, which is basically like a bull flag. And you have this, and you got the trend line that broke and it went back over VWAP. And like I said, this is basically like a dip and rip play, just without the dip. So this is expected with a dip and rip. These stocks tend to run in the morning, especially when they're low flow. Now, number two, we're going to go ahead and talk about number two right here. So number two right here, right? This is number two. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to draw again, right? Polyline right here is number two, right? This is the trend line for number two. So I'm gonna go ahead and draw that out for you guys, right? Now this is a symmetrical triangle right here, right? Because the actually, let me erase that. I wasn't supposed to draw it like that, but let's draw that again. So right here is the trend line, right? The trend line is right here. And if you look down, this is the other trend line right here, right? So you have resistance right here at the rising trend line. I mean, the descending trend line right here, right? This is descending trend line right here. You have resistance right here. And the support right here is an ascending trend line. As you can see, you had a low right here, you had a higher low, and you had another low that was just slightly a bit higher. And right here is where the trend line broke. So here is the breakout. This is reversal, because this became bearish. It came back down and lost almost all of its gains. And it was under VWAP for about 2 hours. So right there, it was bearish the whole time. But right here, this trend broke. And this is bearish to bullish right here. It's symmetrical triangle pattern right here, because you have the higher lows coming up. You have support at the rising trend line. You have resistance at the descending trend line. And right here is the breakout area. This could be a small position, a small trade. For me, it just wasn't enough room for me. I wouldn't have took this trade. I would have took a trade in the morning off of that dip and rip type play. But this is, if this is enough room for you, this is definitely an entry point right here, because that trend line broke and it did the pattern that basically shows reversal. So number 3. Now with this one, I'm going to sit this right here for you guys, right? So I'm going to sit this here, and I want you guys, to tell me, right? Just pause the video and figure out where's the next signal, like where exactly it is on this chart. Like if you look at the screen, I put the chart right here because it's in this area. So pause the video and try to see if you can see where the next trend is, right? From bearish to bullish, to see where the next trend is actually on this chart. So gonna give you guys a second. You can pause it right now. Now we're gonna go ahead and show you guys right now. So the next trend right here is right here, right? This is I believe it's a falling wedge. It's a flag pattern. I'm not sure if it's a symmetrical, not symmetrical, but yeah, symmetrical or descending triangle, or like a falling wedge. I have to look more into those to determine this one right here specifically, because those are patterns that I never really traded, but I just started looking into. I usually trade like the bull flag and the cup and handle and the inverse head and shoulders, stuff like that. I look out for the head and shoulder, so I know when to get out. And right here, we're just gonna draw this trend line, right? So we got a trend line right here, right? This is the trend line, right? Right here is the trend line. This is it. So right there, you have another flag pattern right there, right? And I'm gonna explain this to you so you can understand. So we got over here in this area, it was bearish, right? And this also can tell you, if you look at the previous trend, we had the ascending triangle that came up here. So the trend already changed. And now we're sitting over VWAP, and we came back under VWAP. And we have lower lows, right? And lower highs. Now, right here is where we have a higher low. Right here is where the trend changes. And right here, we have a big green candle, right? We have this flag pattern right here, right? And right here, the trend line broke. Right here is where the trend line broke. This is where you can buy it, because the trend line broke. We already had some, reversal right here. And now we had this flag pattern. And we had right here, we had a higher low, and we had the trend line break right here. So this at 63 could have been a position to get in, and you can ride it up and expect a bounce off VWAP. And that's what it did. It came under VWAP right here, and then it pushed back up, and it bounced off of this VWAP and came all the way up to 75. So right there would have been your third position potentially to get in on this. Now this is a Friday, which is why I believe this thing it wasn't gonna get past 0.85 regardless. And it wasn't gonna break higher day at 0.90, but I feel like it could have got to about 0.83 if it wasn't Friday. People like to sell off on Friday, so that's most likely why this thing didn't go higher than what it did, and it topped at 78 right here. But right here is the next trend, from bearish to bullish right here, because you had that trend line break right here. You had that higher low. You can see the flag pattern right here. You got back over VWAP. You bounced off VWAP for a nice small trade, a nice small gain right here. This is important, because if you can spot stuff like this, you can get in before the move happens, and you can be in and out quick. And once you do this over and over and over again, you become consistent. You become profitable. You maximize profit and minimize loss, which is something that I'm going to teach about that too as well, because that's very, very important. You can make money all you want to, but if you're losing it right back, it doesn't matter, because you're not maximizing profit. You're not minimizing your loss. So these are your 3 entry levels, what I just showed. So thank you guys for watching the video. We got a lot more videos coming. It's your boy Life with Merc. Sub to the channel, man, if y'all like the content, because I got a lot to teach. It's your boy Life with Merc. I'm out.